PRAGMATA. A lot of people have been asking me about it since I finished it. I won't be doing any more edited videos, but if you want to watch the finale, it should be up on the second channel that I have where I upload all my VODs and stuff if you want to go see that. Prod Uncut, or link is in the description. But I want to give you guys my honest opinion on it and give you guys like a sort of like a mini review, kind of like I do with a lot of stuff. Mainly just want to talk about it. So first of all, it was very surprising, to be honest. I really wasn't expecting much from the game. Hell, I didn't even have it on my radar as one of the games that I was gonna be playing. It just never really caught my attention until more people were asking me if I was gonna play it. Didn't get around to playing the beta, but I wanted to try it out, and I saw a little bit of the gameplay beforehand, and it looked fun. So I decided to pick it up on a whim. So far, one of my favorite games of the year, from the story to the gameplay. Now, let's just go ahead and start off with the gameplay. When it comes to the shooting itself, there's not anything too special, but one thing that I do like is that the shooting reminds me a lot of like classic Capcom games. There's this game where, I can't remember what it's called from the top of my head right now, I'm gonna look like an idiot, but you're on an ice planet to keep yourself warm and you have to kill a bunch of bugs on this ice planet. Old school Capcom game. And it reminds me of that. The hacking mechanic is pretty interesting with the little girl, which makes her actually useful. Diana actually has a purpose in this game, which is good. She's not just a character that comes out that does nothing. The hacking mechanic is pretty much essential to this game. Doing a playthrough without any hacking would be an absolute nightmare. I will say by the end of it, I got much better than I was in the beginning, but it took a while to get used to, right? Getting used to aiming and trying to shoot at the same time and stay away from the enemies while hacking at the same time, doing the little mini game. In some rooms, especially like the big red rooms that you have, can get pretty overwhelming. So you kind of got to think quickly and kind of get used to it. But overall, it wasn't too difficult, right? It never felt like some bullshit. I wasn't dying over and over and over and over at any point in the game. I was playing it on normal, and it even took me like 75% of the game to realize I could even upgrade the other weapons that aren't the main weapon, like the shotgun or the charge rifle. I legitimately didn't even know until the end. So the difficulty isn't too high, but it felt good to play. The dodges were smooth. I loved the feeling of the jetpack. I think it was a really good mechanic. Usually jetpacks are kind of hit or miss in video games, but the thrusting about and dodging enemies using the thruster jets was super fun. Giving you iframes, I think, was really good and fun. So overall, the gameplay, there was no real complaint from me. Nice variety when it comes to the weapons, having to use different weapons for different situations. The only thing that I maybe would have wanted is a little bit of more variety when it comes to the main weapon. But one thing I do like is that you end up getting a bunch of weapons quite often. So it was never too much of an issue that the main weapon, let's just say the assault rifle compared to the pistol, would always run out of ammo really fast, and then you'd have to swap weapons because you always had something on your side, or an enemy was dropping them, or if you're in a boss fight, there's weapons all over the place and they're always spawning, so they're always around. Another thing I really liked about the gameplay is the fact that you actually had to think about the weak points for some of the enemies. Different enemies had different weak points, some of them being their heads, some of them being their backs, their chests, their stomachs. It gave it an extra bit of, hey, I actually have to think about this, where I shoot this guy, which weapon to use for these specific enemies. Now, I will say it could get a little bit repetitive, especially towards the end, but honestly, it took quite a bit for it to get repetitive in my opinion. So overall, when it comes to the gameplay, very positive. Now the story for the game. You're a guy who works on the moon. Big technological advances happening, 3D printing shit on the moon using moon dust. Things go crazy. You run into a little girl, Diana, who turns out to be a small AI little girl. Then you learn more and more about the story. I'm not going to really spoil it too much, but by the end of the story, I legitimately think that the pairing of Diana and Hugh are one of the best combos that I've seen in recent times especially for like a father-daughter type of characters. I thought it was incredibly well done. I enjoyed both of them quite a bit. I like their interactions, and I actually started to care about the characters. And a lot of people sometimes, by the way, think that because I joke around when I do a lot of playthroughs, that I don't care about the characters, I'm not paying attention to the story. At the end of the day, right, like, I'm trying to be entertaining, I'm trying to be stupid, and I don't do face cam pretty much ever, so really the only thing I could do is talk. Sometimes I can't just sit there and watch a 2-minute cutscene without saying anything, because then what the fuck am I there for? You know, I had to say something, right? So I did try keeping it to a minimal during the cutscene in this, especially towards the end, because I was watching it just like you guys. I was enjoying the story. I was listening to the conversations between Diana and Hugh and really enjoying their bonding moments. I thought it was adorable. I thought they did the character really well. Usually kids in video games can be kind of fucking annoying. Just like Atreus, you know, in God of War. One of the most goddamn annoying characters. Especially in the second one where he non-stop backseats, non-stop just doesn't shut the hell up. While Diana does talk while she's on your back, it doesn't ever get really too overbearing or overly annoying. So I never had an issue with that. I thought the cutscenes were really cute. Some of my favorite moments was going back to the main hub and collecting different things and seeing how Diana interacts with them. You get her some balloons and she ends up scattering them about the main hub and talks about losing some of the balloons. Some of the cutest moments were her drawing you these small pictures, and I thought it was super adorable. You know, it's interesting when like people are asking you like, oh, does this game make you want to be a dad prod? Which was a question that I got while I was streaming once. It makes you think like, man, this game is so well done. It's legitimately making people want to like have a kid. And it's really interesting that a video game is bringing up those emotions for people, you know. It's making some people consider that. Did they do it on purpose? Probably, right? They wanted an endearing character, and I think they made a great character that a lot of people are feeling emotions for, and honestly that's nothing but good. I think they did a great job with Diana. They did a good job with Hugh. Hugh could have been just a blank, boring character, and she could have been the whole main character, but their interactions together honestly improve both of the characters. I don't want to go too far into the ending, but the ending is interesting because when you get to the final mission, you know what's going to happen. If you've played it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know what's going to happen. They straight up tell you, and it still is a hell of a watch. I will admit, I had some feelings well up. It's rare that I have that in a goddamn video game. So overall, the story, again, very positive, albeit a slight bit cliche, but overall done well. Now, would I recommend this game overall for people who want to play it? I will say the game has a good story. It's got good gameplay, and from what I've seen, it's got some decent replayability, having a new game plus and a new game type that changes up a lot of the main bosses in the game and makes them different. You also have time trial events to do. This could be like an easy 30-hour game if you want to do everything. The story itself, focusing a little bit on some of the side content, was about 12 hours or so, which is a pretty good single-player adventure in my opinion. So yes, I would say the game, for me, was very much worth it. While I'm somebody who doesn't replay a lot of games, mainly time constrictions and everything, this is one that actually has a new game plus and or extra content in the end that is pretty appealing and would make me want to do more. The outfits and stuff were super cute. I would love to get all of them, but when it comes to having the amount of time that I need to do that, there's so many more stuff coming out as well. It's difficult for me to do that, but for you guys who maybe have more time, I think that'll be something that is fun to get and to strive for. But overall, the game was very surprising, and my score for the game is an 8 out of 10. I wish maybe we had a little bit more of boss variety, even though the main bosses that we got were really well done, especially some of the massive monsters that we had were super freaking cool. It's rare to ask for this, but hey, a couple more cutscenes of some interactions between Diana and Hugh would have been cool as well. And while it ain't a perfect video game, I think that for a brand new IP, which by the way has sold over 1 million copies, already being incredible for a brand new IP, They knocked it out of the park. They did an incredible job, and I'm excited to see what else comes from the game director. This is his first directing job, while he's had other jobs in the game industry, including in the past, by the way, working on Metal Gear Revengeance, which is one of the most badass games of all time. This guy hopefully has a bright future ahead of him, especially working at Capcom. It's cool to have still a publisher like Capcom willing to take risks on brand new IPs, and when they're good, they succeed. But that is my opinion so far on Pragmata. I'd imagine, hey, maybe a DLC, something like that in the future, I think would be fun and interesting. I'd definitely try it out and play it. But thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. If you made it this far, a like is very much appreciated from you. So thank you very much if you do. You have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you all in the next one.